family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe.
Welcome to the Phoenix Podcast with Kenneth Sharpe. And today in my show, I'm privileged to be sitting in Dubai on this high floor in the building with my new friend, AJ. And what an honor it is to meet you, Anthony Joseph. And he is the man who's known as the rock star real estate broker in Dubai. He sold no less than 3.5 billion, I believe, of real estate. And he's the Amazon #1 seller of a new book called Take Charge. So, it's such a privilege to be with
Thanks
you,
a lot
AJ.
for having me on your show.
Thanks for being with me today. I'm excited to talk to you about entrepreneurship, real estate, authoring, taking charge, taking the lead, paying it back. I mean, you really are a role model.
Thank you.
Tell me, how did all this get started?
It started back in 2014. I came to Dubai for a visit, and as soon as I landed in Dubai, I was so fascinated by Sheikh Zayed, by the buildings, how clean, how beautiful it was. And I'm like, there must be something in this city. So when I came here, the purpose was just to visit a family member, my uncle. And first day we were talking, he was like, you know what, you're like kind of good guy when it comes to sales. Why don't you apply for real estate? It's moving in here. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So I started applying.
So how old were you? Just to put this into context.
It was in October 14. I was 29 years old.
29 years old.
Yeah.
So you were an adult, you had some business experience, you had a job?
Not really, because like I come back from a background where life was only about partying, having good time, and you know, you have your family, your mom to take care of you, to make the food, to make all of the stuff. So it really didn't feel like I had responsibilities. I was a kid, let's put it this way. And this is what I always tell people, like, if you want a kid to transform to a man, move him from his mom. Mm-hmm. That's the only way that he's gonna be able to do it. So yeah, I came here, no plans, start applying for real estate. I always knew how to talk. I always knew how to persuade. I always knew how to convince people. Like, I've been a salesperson since I was born. I was selling my parents how to get me a bicycle, how to get me this and that. So I had it in me. Coming back to Dubai, I started applying for real estate companies, and that happened on Friday, Saturday. Saturdays off here in Dubai. Sunday, everyone starts calling me. Yeah, come for an interview. Started doing interviews. All of the companies looked so shiny, so beautiful, so flashy. I felt like it's too good to be true, or this is not my place, because I wasn't used to it. And then eventually I landed in a company where I'm still in until date. There was nothing fancy about it, small office, but the people felt more natural. So I joined there, and that's how it started the journey.
And this is Provident?
That's Provident Estate.
So I read this, that you came to Dubai, you had nothing except the right attitude and determination. And you said to yourself, if I can make it, anybody can.
Absolutely.
And you say, let me show you how.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, that attitude? Where did it come from?
Tell you something. When I came here, first of all, I felt like I'm too small. When you see the city, how big it is, and the people, and the cash in Dubai, it's madness. Like, I felt I'm too small. I haven't achieved anything in my life, and I should be ashamed that I'm in that age, and literally I have nothing. There was nothing under my name except my phone. So then
you owned a phone?
I owned a phone, that's it. And I had some cash in my pocket, which I spent in a couple of days.
I believe it was $500?
Maybe a bit more, but I spent it in 2-3 days, you know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna go back to live the same lifestyle that I'm doing, because it's getting me to nowhere. And I have to make it. I have no other option. I'm not gonna call anyone. I'm not gonna ask for money. I'm not gonna do anything. I have to make it. So when I joined, and I don't know if you know about the system in Dubai, there is no real estate company that will pay you a salary.
I know.
Basically, they will give you a SIM card. They will give you a very used laptop, like a really used laptop, database, and that's it. And start calling people and create your own network and do everything.
So you call people from where?
database.
You find them.
Yeah, just start randomly call, which I didn't do.
Cold calling.
Cold calling, pure cold calling. But I didn't like it because I was always looking at the colleagues in the office, and they were all doing the same by calling people, hey sir, or hey ma'am, do you want to buy, you want to rent, you want to sell? I'm like, it cannot be. It cannot be that's the only formula. There must be something else. So I started roaming around in the city, and then I stumbled to something called hotel apartment, and that industry was untouched, at least from the real estate brokers.
Right.
So I'm like, great, let me focus on it. I walked into that building. It's a mega development to a very big family in UAE. I'm not gonna mention names, but I went to it and I went to the reception and I'm like, hey guys, I just came to Dubai and I want to check your apartments. I want to see the 1 bedroom and I want to see the 3 bedrooms because my family might join and they might move to Dubai. So I saw the 1 bed. I'm like, nice, fully furnished, clean, 3 bedrooms, beautiful, full sea view. I'm like, okay, I like this building. I got the same feeling when I went to do this interview on Provident Real Estate and it told me that's your place. I got the same feeling in that building. It told me that's your place. So I'm like, okay, great. How shall I do it? I went down and I'm like, can I meet the sales director? They were like, yeah, do you have an appointment? I'm like, no. And they were like, yeah, it's not going to happen like that. I told the girl, listen, I'm going to wait for him. And I sat down. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed. After 3 hours, he was curious to know who's this guy waiting for me. He was like, I don't know, what does he want from me? So he went outside. His name is like mine. His name is Anton. He's like, hi, I'm Anton. Pleasure meeting you. He's also Lebanese.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps.
And he was like, you got me so curious. Who will wait for another human being for 3 hours? Like, what do you want? And I'm like, I'm here to change your life. And he was like, okay, let's have a coffee. And then I told him I'm a real estate broker, and he was like, oh, another one of those, you know, because like, unfortunately, real estate brokers don't have this amazing reputation in Dubai. So we sat down and I told him I want to have this building on exclusive basis. And he was like, are you mental? Like, this is like almost 200 units, value of 1.6 billion, and who you are to ask for something like that. And I told him I'm going to fill up this building. He was like, we don't work like that. Go make a proposal and come back to me. I left, started Googling how to make a proposal. I had no idea. And you know, it wasn't that helpful looking online how to make a proposal. Eventually, I made a proposal, went back to him, rejected 1, 2, 3, 4 times rejection. I'm like, okay, I'm persistent. I'm still gonna go there until I get it, but I need to change my method. So I'm like, instead of me writing down papers, how about if I show him that I do have clients? So then I started going to the buildings around that development, and I always went, bribed the security guard, got him some food, give me the contact, tell me what's available, what's not available. So I got the listings of a similar units next to it, which were way cheaper than that building. So when I had clients, I'm like, you like the apartment? They were like, yeah. I'm like, listen, if you want, there's a building next door. It's fully furnished. Come, let me show it to you and see how much the price difference is, 50, 60,000. So you understand that this is a good deal that I'm giving you. So I was playing it on the two sides. This guy is showing him I have clients. You know what I mean? And for the client, I was telling him, look how cheaper I'm giving you this unit. So they started seeing me every day coming with 2, 3 clients, and they were like, you know what? This guy might be genuine. Let's give him a chance. Okay. And that's how it happened. I got this building exclusive, and from there it was happy days.
So you sold the whole building?
It was leasing. It was leasing yearly, but I did amazing in that building.
200 units.
200 units, and they gave me all of their stock, which ended up to be almost 1,500 units all over Dubai.
Amazing.
They had in 6 areas, they have villas, they had it all.
And you rented them all out?
I rented, let's say, 70 to 80% of it. This went almost from beginning of 15 until mid or Q3 of 2017. This is where I left this and I joined the sales, the off-plan sales. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this question, AJ, and tell our viewers and listeners, this is the key to life, right? Having the right attitude. Attitude is about everything. It's not aptitude. It's not your ability that counts. It's really what you think and the way you think. Where does it come from? How did you get this attitude?
Me being stubborn and needing to prove a point and being like sick and tired of feeling that I'm a loser.
Yeah.
And I want to show the world that I'm not a loser. And that's what got me going, because now I just told you the story, but during those, like day by day, I was getting beaten up by life. I had people. So first of all, I didn't have a car, I didn't have anything, and I was out of cash. So what I have done, I have went and I sold my phone for 300 dirhams, which is $80. And then I'm like, right, this 300...
You sold your phone?
Yeah, I had nothing to do. I was out. So I'm like, this 300 dirhams, I'm going to divide it into 30 days. My daily budget is 10 dirhams. For you guys who don't know what's 10 dirhams, $2.5. So I'm like, okay, 5 dirhams will go to the metro to save me time walking, and another 5 dirhams will buy me a cheese sandwich from Almaya supermarket. This was my daily routine for 30 days. So if I needed to eat more, I have to walk another 7 kilometers. Okay, or I have to just adapt with it. So I had people calling me, booking appointments. So let's say the appointment was at 5 p.m. I had to leave the office by 3 p.m. because between walking and using the metro, I need 2 hours to reach the destination. Some people never showed up. Some people didn't even bother to call me and say, I'm sorry, I cannot make it. Some people, I called them, I'm like, I'm in the flat, how long you will need it? They were like, who's this? So life really beated me up. It was every day, I don't know, I felt like, what's my purpose in life?
Did you feel like you wanted to give up in those 30 days?
Every single day.
What
I'm
kept
like,
you going?
What's my purpose in life? Why I'm alive? Like what? To get this kind of beating, this kind of humiliation? Like this is why it ended up to be. What kept me going? I don't know, I had no other option. Like, what shall I do? So commit suicide, jump from a building?
So
like,
you were thrown in the deep end and you had to learn to swim.
I had no other option, and I kept pushing every day. And there was some days where I really didn't feel my feet, and I was telling myself, good, you deserve it. You've been splashing money all of your life. This is your punishment. Good, you deserve it. So I was like kind of punishing myself to the previous lifestyle that I had. And by the day, the 26th of the month, where I had only 40 dirhams left, $11, I closed my first rental with another company, which was split 4 ways, but it kind of gave me like $600. And I felt
and you
like
got
I'm
the cash
alone.
right away?
After 2 days, but that's fine. You know, and I felt like I'm a lord. I can have chicken, I can have meat, I can go jump in a taxi, I don't have to use the metro. I felt like I'm a normal human being. So that was the start. And then eventually when I got this project that I was telling you about, it kind of like paid off immediately. So after 3-4 months, I was okay. After 6 months, I got my driving license. I rented my first studio, which felt like a mansion for me, 300 square feet. I got
30 square meters, that is.
Yeah, I got my first Hyundai Accent rental. I can put my own music, I can have my AC, I can drive around. So this is where it really like started. It took me like almost 8 to 9 months to stand on my feet. Yeah, not established, but just to feel like, I'm living.
You're okay now.
Yeah.
And when did it take off? So
basically, when I was doing this leasing model, I managed to get myself to be making almost 50,000 dirhams a month without even doing a meeting, by just managing everything over the phone, connecting people, getting the paper, doing the leasing, giving it to them, sign. It was all remotely. And then that company, Provident Estate, merged with another 4 big companies in Dubai, and they make the biggest company. It's called One Broker Group.
One Broker.
So we were 35 agents, and eventually we became 150 in one day. And then it's like jumping to a big forest, and who's the lion of the forest? Who's the king of this forest, you know? So I had to level up my game, and I knew like I can always keep doing this leasing. It's gonna make me 600,000 dirhams a year, I don't know, $140,000 per year.
Comfortable.
Or I need to jump to the off-plan sales, which has no ceiling. And this is what I have done. I left this stuff and I went to the sales. That's how I started sales. It was end of 2017.
End of 17.
Which I did miserably.
Didn't perform? No sales?
Miserably. I did
For how long?
4 sales maybe in like 7 months.
So less than a sale a month, one every 2 months.
I did miserably when it came to sales. I didn't do well at all. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to get obsessed with it. And I started learning and what's leveraging, and started going all the way, books, courses. I didn't leave anything. I was really obsessed with it until April 2018.
So a year later.
Yeah, and I smashed it from there. April 2018, I made 660,000 dirhams.
Commission.
Yeah, 19 individual sales. 19.
19 in 1 month.
So whatever didn't happen in Jan, Feb, and March, it all paid off in April.
Amazing.
And it started in a very fun way. We still laugh about it. On April 1st, I called a friend of mine who works in MR. And I'm like, book me these 3 units. And he was like, you're playing on me. I'm like, no, like, book it. This is an actual deal. You're like, swear. I'm like, yeah, book it. So he needed those deals and I needed those deals because like, that was the start. And yeah, from there it's exploded. I kept like, maintaining the same amounts between 5 to 600,000 a month until date.
Amazing.
Yeah, from those days. Yeah.
And how much time do you spend selling?
As long as I'm awake, I'm selling. Because end of the day, it's not like I'm selling you an object, an apartment. I'm selling you the opportunity where you can really be making money, getting crazy returns, net to your pocket. There is no tax on your capital gains. There is no tax on your annual returns or your monthly returns. And there's not even tax on purchasing the properties. Most of my buyers, I got them deals that they didn't even pay the 4% registrations.
I wish I met you 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I bought my first property from MR 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
So I just paid.
Anyway, now they killed those payment plans.
Oh,
But from 2018, like, we were told people, like, just pay 20%, get your keys, 80%, 5 years post handover between you and the developer, no interest, even service charges waived for 2 years. So there was crazy payment.
So really promoting the developers.
Yeah, so I just needed to show people like, yeah, this is genuine, this is real. We have escrow accounts, no one can screw you. This is what we are doing, do it. And people start doing it. And from there, all of the money that I was generating, I was really smart in it. I wasn't foolish. I stopped the partying, I spent those spending. So whatever I was making, I was reinvesting in properties myself.
Wonderful. So you're a developer yourself? Or
I'm not a developer, but I'm an investor myself.
So you buy and lease?
So I get this commission. I buy a property, whether I lease it for 1 year or in the short-term rental, but I keep buying.
And you hold the ownership or you flip it?
No, I hold
You're
it.
holding the ownership.
I just did some flippings this year where there's properties that they really shot up, like they quadrupled. And I know
quadrupled?
Yeah.
In 1 year?
No, from 2018 I started investing.
Okay.
So there's some properties now in end of 21
That's 4 times people in 4 years.
Yeah, so they quadrupled and I knew they're not going to maintain that pricing.
Right.
So I'm like, let me flip it, which I can
take your cash.
Take the cash and reinvest it also in another 2 or 3 properties.
Yeah. So what has created this model in Dubai? Because for me it's a phenomenon and it's a quandary. When I first came here in 91, there was nothing here. From Sheikh Zayed, from the Emirates building going all the way to the Bay, there was nothing on one building, just desert. And now it's a huge city of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars.
To simplify,
what is keeping it going?
It's the leadership.
Leadership?
It's the leadership.
It always is leadership.
It's the leadership, the way that they saw it. So it's like when you're talking about these days, about the 90s and maybe the 80s, those were the days where UAE and Dubai specifically had oil. And they were like, okay, what we're going to do when we run out of oil? Let's build the city. And I think it was the concept maybe a bit similar to Vegas. Build it and they will come. And that's what they did.
Right.
They built it and they made the best infrastructure. So basically, the wisdom of the leadership in here, they were like, okay, let's say where they have the best, metros in the world, the tubes. London, okay, whoever did that, bring them to UAE, let them do it here. Who has built this, bring them. So they hired the right people with the right amounts and they built the city that you're seeing today. And today, Dubai is becoming the safest heaven for anyone to be coming here, moving their money, living, having the phrase. You see the safety in here, the safety. And now people know what's the value of safety. Look what's happening in Europe. Look what's happening in the world. You can be stabbed if you're carrying, a sandwich. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's unfortunate, but in here you can be frosted diamond head to toe. No one will even look at you. That's the norm. So this lifestyle that they gave everyone attracted everyone to be in the city. The schools, we have 168 schools when it comes to nationalities. Like imagine, this is all
The
in
whole
one
world
place.
in
The
one
whole
place.
world is here. Like the best hospitals, best services, best everything. Today, if I don't feel like going to a gas station to fill up my car, I can just click on the app and there will be like people coming to my house and filling up my tank. Like, where do you find something like that?
So safety and leadership.
Yes.
And I'm going to take you back to your country and my country also, Zimbabwe. But Lebanon, let's talk about Lebanon for a minute. When you grew up in Lebanon, looking at Lebanon now and the situation it's in, how would you say leadership has affected that position?
It did everything. We have the worst people that they've been running the country from ages. So whoever was the reason for the civil war, which damaged everything, are the same people that they became deputies and they're running the country. So if they are world lords, how can they even run a country? So basically, that country was amazing in terms of allocation and in terms of nature. We have lots of trees, lots of everything. It's beautiful. But what they have done, they didn't really invest in anything in it. They left it to be as a chaos. They kind of like stole most of the money from the government, and now everyone's bank accounts are frozen. Like you have $1 million in the bank, you cannot even pull up $100 a month.
A month.
A month, you cannot
$100
even,
a month.
Yeah, so Lebanon have the most poor millionaires in the world.
Okay.
Let's put it this way.
Incredible.
So yeah, they destroyed the country. And listen, most of the Arab worlds, they are kind of corrupted. And there's lots of corruption even in Europe, I'm not saying no. And here, the leadership, like especially Sheikh Mohammed, the way that you see that, the way he loves his country, the way they give to their country is phenomenal. For example, I remember in New Year's Eve in 2016, the Address Hotel in downtown was caught on fire. And you know who was the first guy putting down the fire? It was Sheikh Mansour, the son of Sheikh Mohammed. He was the one holding the pipes to put down the fire. This doesn't happen anywhere on the planet. That you see the son of the ruler, you know, doing this himself. So the way that they love their country is so inspiring.
So what's the hope for our countries? I mean, I heard earlier you saying, so the Phoenix podcast is about being born from the ashes, rising from the ashes, people that started with nothing, like yourself, like myself. But if we look at our countries, they've really been destroyed. The value creation that was there for many generations has been wiped out, savings wiped out, banks destroyed. How are they going to be reborn? Where's the Phoenician Empire? Where's the Phoenix going to come out? How do you see it happening in
I'll tell you what, I ask this question to all of the people who are still living in Lebanon. I'm like, what's keeping you in here? Why don't you do some kind of revolution? They were like, okay, if we do it, they're gonna shoot on us. We don't even have insurance to be in the hospital. They're gonna make us handicapped. Is it really worth it? No. So if people wants to do a kind of revolution, it's gonna end up to be having a war or a civil war, which also again no one will benefit from it. So the best way to do is just kind of like scrap the existing people and bring new people that they genuinely wants to make a change.
And do you think that will happen at the elections?
No.
Is the elections corrupted?
Everything is corrupted.
Controlled?
Everything is
Rigged?
controlled. Like now, okay, same way I told you there is tons of bank accounts are frozen in the banks, but there is tons of black mafia they're printing out money by playing with the exchange rate, by being the supplier of.
So many people benefit from the system.
Yeah, and these are the people who are working for this deputies and the government who were created from the war.
So it's a system
so
of
this
patronage.
system, no, it's not gonna change. I don't see any change unless if there's blood to be shedded, to be very honest. And it's an unfortunate solution which no one wants to see, but this is the only way. To remove them, you have to go to a war with them.
So you think it will end up in war?
I really don't know, because to be very honest with you, when the massive explosion happened in Lebanon in 2020 in August, it was the 4th of August. Yeah, they classified it as the third biggest nuke, and the
third biggest.
Yeah, and luckily that most of it went out of the sea. So if this was the center of a city, maybe it would have hit Syria, God forbid. So I really thought that because of this movement, people will say, okay, we have nothing to lose. Anyway, let's go to a war. Anyway, we're dead, we're not living. Look how they are treating us. But then I saw like people really adapting to everything, and they started partying back after 1 week. And really broke my heart. And I'm like, you live in the country. Like here, I live in Dubai, I was devastated. I was so heartbroken. I was so upset. And I was really surprised by everyone calling me, telling me, Anthony, we want to help. How can we send money to Lebanon? How can we help these people? And we were all of us sending money, clothes, food. And guess what? More than 50% of the money that we were sending to help, to aid, was not even reaching the people. Was going back to the same scumbags who are ruling the country. So anyway, I really hope it goes back on its feet, because it's a beautiful place. The people are the nicest people you can ever meet when it comes to hospitality, to vibes, to make you feel like you are in home. You know what I mean? But they're kind of like they broke them. Everyone is sad, or most people are sad.
So hope has been removed.
That's what I felt. I went there recently. I went there like last week of November, and yeah, I saw like everyone just kind of like, I don't know, getting adapted to everything. If you tell them, okay, your monthly allowance is $100, okay, they will go stay in front of the bank, take the 100. If your monthly allowance is $50, they will say, okay. Like they kind of like lost the fighters. I don't know, they kind of lost it. Yeah, I didn't see like these are the people that are willing to do any change. Even now, like we have been, I don't know, without a president for multiple months, and it can go up to years, even without a government, and no one cares. Like people are just too worried about getting food to their kids. They give them electricity for 2 hours per day. So in this 2 hours, this is like your 2 hours to take a shower, to do your laundry, you know. So they give you this kind of program, and they keep you so busy in it that you're not even looking at what is your human right.
I don't know if you've heard of the French poet Victor Hugo. He says, there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come. And maybe the time has not yet come.
Really,
and when it comes, it will be powerful.
Really
but then I also say personally, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when?
Yeah.
So I think the people have to realize that it's always about the people. The people are the ones that have to make the difference. And if they themselves are not ready, unfortunately, nothing will change.
Yep.
So if you looked at a projection of time, would you say it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years before you see a recovery in Lebanon?
I can tell you something. Listen, there is ways they can... Okay, so the country is almost $100 billion in debt. Okay?
That's more than Zimbabwe, by the way.
They can fix it in 1 year.
1 year.
1 year. If they want to, they can fix it in 1 year. Because I'll tell you something. When the plane was landing, I was looking at all of that beach side. What did I find? Rocks and garbage on the beach side. And look at Dubai. The most expensive properties are being sold is on the beach. So I'm like, I was thinking like, if only this stupid government can give guarantees to international investors, like, yes, come, build it, we will sell it and we will share the profit 30, 70, 40, 60, 50, 50, doesn't matter. Just give them guarantees like, come build it, no one will steal from you. Myself, I can bring easy 10 investors to build all of the beach side.
That's it. That's the solution.
That's it. It's so easy. Like, this is one of those. Second, we have, I don't know, they say like, when it comes to the Bekaa Valley, like we can produce a great source of grapes where we can do amazing wine and everything related to wine. There is tons of international investors that they can come and do it as well. But the problem that no one trusts the country or the city or the system, so they know that any money invested in Lebanon is a wasted money, and we're gonna see it again. So that's what I'm telling you. The solution is not hard. There is tons of ways to make money in that place, but the ruling party doesn't want it to happen, because if people have money, they're gonna kick them out. They're gonna throw them in the garbage bins.
So it's about having leadership that creates a stable and safe environment with a platform in business that's clear. And when that happens, the business can take care of itself.
Easy.
Right? So coming back to your childhood, tell me what it was that made you into the person you are, your character.
It was rough. It wasn't the ideal childhood. So basically, like, I was born in the Civil War. Most of my childhood years, from, I don't know, age 1 to 7 or 7.5, we used to live in a basement where it was like a bomb shelter for us. It was a basement in a building. We used to go out a bit when there was ceasefire. That happened 2-3 days. So we used to go out to play. And what was our games back then is to be collecting those bullet shells. So whoever collected more bullets would be a winner. And then we used to go back home, and our parents used to beat us for that. They were like, don't touch this, it's dangerous and stuff. So yeah, it wasn't like the ideal childhood. And after the war finished, which was in 1992, my parents went through a divorce. And it was also like a bit of confusing for me. I was 8 years old. I didn't know what's gonna happen. By the time I was 12, I became a rebel. I really was a rebel on everything, on myself, on the environment. If people used to go right, I just wanted to go left because I didn't want to fit in anywhere. I always wanted to stand out. I always needed to prove a point that, I don't know, I'm different. And by the age of 14 or 15, I kind of like really shifted to what I shouldn't be doing in my age. So I was like hanging around, like let's say, older people where they used to spend their time drinking or smoking weed or partying nonstop. So this was my upbringing. It's not like my parents, it was their fault or they did anything wrong, but it's just like, you know, when you have this idea like, yeah, I don't need anyone, I'm gonna do it on myself. So you kind of like lose your way. However, I never lost my way when it comes to education. I got graduated from school. I joined university by the age of 17 and I finished by the age of 21 doing a double major in advertising and marketing and minor psychology. Why I jumped into psychology? Just to understand the human mind, how to sell everything to everyone, how people, you know. So yeah, so childhood was rough. Let's say from 12 to 15, this is where I kind of like lost the way. I started being really interested in girls, dating every day, all day, you know.
All the dangerous things.
Yeah, all the dangerous stuff, like hanging around with people like I shouldn't even be talking to because it felt exciting. Stupidity. Yeah, but again, I've never like really did something bad to people. I felt I was just like hurting myself. That's
So it's
it.
your form of coping, your coping mechanism.
Yeah, yeah.
And now in your life, you've changed, you've transformed. You're now a successful businessman. You're a leader. You're a role model. What keeps you driven? What keeps you honest? What keeps you focused in the right direction?
First of all, it's like I always want to know like how far can you go? It's very interesting for me because like if you tell me 8 years ago like today you will have what you have today, I will say you're out of your mind or you're drunk or something, you know. So it's like, yeah, I felt like actually there is no limit to where humans can go. It's all in the mind and how do you want to use it. Also, what keeps me really like on my path, I think it's a massive support from my wife because everything that I want to do now, I would think about it like, would this affect us in any way? If I feel there's a 1% chance, I'm like, screw it. Already done it all. Like from the age of 15 until 30, like there is nothing I haven't done in this life. You know what I mean? So there's nothing like really interesting for me to discover what would be this feeling. I've been there all. Now I'm just trying to build an empire. And while I'm building this empire, I want to inspire as much as possible. I want to tell people like, yeah, it is possible. Look at me. I come from a broken family. I've seen it all. I've been everywhere and I made it. So why can't you make it? Just to change the thoughts.
That's beautiful. So I would say you're on the journey from success to significance. And you found a value system that is most important to you. More important than making money, more important than having the sweet moment, the experience of the moment. You're committed to the long-term journey.
Listen, making money is amazing, but then when you find out that what's more amazing is giving it out, this is the best feeling. And it's not gonna only be by giving money to someone. It's like by giving education, by giving ideas, by giving inspiration. And the way people will look at you with this smile, yeah, it fills my heart with happiness to change someone's life.
That's beautiful. So you're a philanthropist at heart,
yeah.
by nature, naturally.
Yeah.
And I heard you own a Rolls Royce, but you've decided to use the Rolls Royce to roll with AJ and and bring people into your life. So what are some of the things you'll be doing with them, rolling in the roles?
I haven't started the podcast yet. It's starting next month.
Okay.
We're not now just doing the search and seeing which are the areas we can be shooting at. And yeah, I'm just gonna pick up people randomly
From the street?
from the street, put them in
Anyone?
the car, yeah, and go spend a full day with them. And
So you're going to share your life with them.
I'm gonna share my life with them, and I'm gonna tell them, you like what you're seeing? He's gonna say yes, or she's gonna say yes. I'm like, great, you can do it too, and I'm gonna help you to do it, and hopefully this will happen.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you the best in that, my friend.
Thank you.
So coming back to the business, I was hearing your story of how you moved from leasing to selling off plan, and now you're going back into a model that's more yield-based as well, so service-related industries around real estate. Tell us something, a little bit about that.
I'll tell you something. Most of the time, I was always looking for companies, and I wasn't really happy with the companies, the services they were giving. So I started saying, oh, this company is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. And then I'm like, you know what, Anthony, instead of saying these companies are terrible, why don't you do a better service? And this is what kept me going. So I'm like, okay, now, instead of us having one or two companies, why wouldn't I be the one-stop shop where a client can come to me and I can offer him everything he can think about? So just think about real estate, I'm your guy. Sale, resale, property management, holiday homes, interior design, furnishing, snagging. I don't know if there's more services, you know, so I'm
Cleaning?
like, yeah,
That's one of the
cleaning
things
as
you do.
well. Yeah, also there's a company that does like company formation, CFO services, vet filing, and due diligence. If you want to come, you want to ask about a plot or a building or a business, we have these people to do it.
In-house.
In-house.
So you're
everything.
vertically integrating your business.
Yeah.
And I believe you started this, let's say, apartment rentals, short-term rentals business 2 years ago.
I started it in 2019, but we got damaged in March 2020 because of COVID.
That's a big one.
Most of the
Wiped you
lenders, most of the lenders were really scared because the airport was closed. Like, if tourists are not coming, how can you rent short term? So they were like, no, we need cash. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I will move it to long term. And I rented most of the properties on long term. I was left with 12 units.
12. And today?
We passed 450.
Congratulations.
454,
That's
455,
incredible.
something like that.
So from 12 to 450 in 2 years.
Yeah, 2
Less
years
than
and
2
a
years.
half. Yeah, 2 years and a half. Sure.
2.5 years.
Yeah, we
And that's
started
put you at
back
number
in
3?
May. Yeah,
And your competitors have been 8, 10 years in the market?
8 years and 10 years.
And you're going to overtake them next year?
Next year, in 3 months and a quarter, not even
What a
next year.
success
Just
story.
give me a quarter, I'm gonna
You're the rock star of the States.
dominate all of Dubai for sure, definitely.
So one more thing before we close this. If you were to say the biggest ingredient in your success and your habits of daily life, right now, what would it be?
First of all, in order for you to change, you have to hit rock bottom. As long as there is someone that you can count on or anything that you can count on, you will never discover yourself. So hitting rock bottom, whoever hit rock bottom or is already in the rock bottom, appreciate it and embrace it. This is the way of God molding you to the person that you will become in the future. Number 2, you have to adapt to a routine. Most people say, oh, my life is a routine, I hate it. No, routine is sacred. You wake up early morning. Doesn't matter if you have a gym at your home or not. You run. You go run half an hour in the streets. This will pump blood to your mind. This will put you in a different mindset and a different feeling. Then you write down all of your goals and you work towards it. Doesn't matter what's the goals. I just made a video 3 days about it. I'm like, even if you don't know what you want to be, just write down what you don't want to be, because this is the start. This is the
Start
first
writing.
step.
Write anything.
And then you started looking and searching. When I started, I promise you, most of my friends, they were wasting their time traveling, using their credit cards, personal loans, seeing the world. The best travel I did was reading books. I'm not telling people reading books is the answer. You can watch videos, you can get audiobooks, you can see YouTube, you can do
watch the
whatever you
podcast.
want. You can watch this podcast and see other people how they started. Because now you guys are seeing the end result, but trust me, the beginnings are really different. So once you put yourself to the trinity of success, which you will see it in my book, which is like how to mold your brain, your body, and your soul. This is the right formula for anyone to make it.
Beautiful. I love that. And to close this off, I'm going to say, I always say to my daughter, Never forget where you're from. Never forget who you represent. And never make sacrifices or short-term gains for the sake of sacrificing your morals or value system.
100%.
And I see you're a man of great morals and great values.
Principles.
And I can just say amen to what you've said, because those Trinity nuggets, take charge, get the book, read it now. Thank you, AJ. It's been a privilege talking to you.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Faith, family, business, adventure. This is the Phoenix Podcast with Ken Sharpe.